I am the Lord Zuko, coming at you with my first ever video. Today, we're going to be talking about Hades 2. Now, if you don't know me, I make music. I do a lot of videos on TikTok. I do a lot of videos here on YouTube starting now. And I'm going to be streaming sometime in the future very soon. And I'll let you know about that. Check out my music. But for right now, we're talking about Hades 2, one of the greatest games of all time. So, first off, we have to look at this trailer. I mean, this is a money shot right here. This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. So, I want to go through the trailer today, and I want to talk to you guys about what I see, theories I have about what the game could look like coming in the future. I know Melione already did a video like this. Countless people already did videos like this. But Hades 2 is going to be one of the games I play consistently. So I thought might as well give some people some knowledge on what is actually happening. You can see I got the mogul mail thing up in the top. So let's go through it. First off, what I want to talk about here, just make note of some things. First off, we have some things coming down from the trees. We have the moon in place. We have the mushrooms and thorns and things. Make note of the time of day. Make note of these things hanging. That's important for right now. We're going to talk about it later. But let's continue. Oh yeah, look at that. Supergiant makes amazing treatments. This shit is awesome. It was awesome. Money shot. I mean, this is what I want in trailers. Supergiant, you make great stuff. First off, these two figures. This person has not been confirmed of who they are. A lot of people are saying Hecate. Now, if you don't know what Hecate is, or who they are, she is essentially the goddess of magic in Greek mythology. Now, the reason people think this is the goddess of magic is obviously she's got the witch getup, she's got this stuff, and a lot of details coming later in the trailer we will get to. But this, make note, goddess of magic, a more chthonic god. Here's what she looks like. There's an official statue of her in Greece, I believe. Witnessed the abduction of Demeter's daughter Persephone to the underworld. Knows that the true story of how Persephone got to the underworld. So potentially that's where this story is heading. Especially where the actual end of this trailer hints at. So we'll get to that in a second. But note, this is the goddess of magic, mentor to this character here, which we will get to in a moment. That's Hecate, okay? Also make note of the weapons that this girl is using. She's the main character. If you couldn't tell by the Zagreus and Hades feet here, the laurels that they wear, and it looks like a ghost arm over here. Not quite sure, but we're gonna look. That especially, this summoning circle, magic circle thing, this shows up a lot, especially in the gameplay. So make a note of this symbol. Also make note of this moon symbol here. This stuff can be paused at any moment and it looks amazing. More moons here, more moons here, more moons in the ground. Moons everywhere. And I just want to... There we go. Perfect timing. Another moon connecting the laurels. So, this person... We'll talk about who they are. Because it is interesting.
Not good enough.
This is supposed to be... Forgive me, everyone who's Greek, for mispronouncing this. Melione? Official Supergiant Games. As Melione, the immortal princess of the underworld. brother to Zagreus. That's big, especially since that vanquishing the Titans' forces. We'll get to that too. This is official statement by Supergiant Games on who is going to be played as in this game. This is the main character. Melione is a real, just like Zagreus, a very unknown but very real figure in Greek mythology. Melione is not necessarily a princess of the underworld, but she can also kind of be described as such. Zagreus technically isn't, because as you find out in Hades, spoilers if you haven't played it, please go play it, listen to all of the dialogue, it's all important, it's all interesting, amazing game, 10 out of 10, deserved game of the year. Melione is not she's a nymph, but she's a god. She is a goddess of like nightmares and madness, as seen here. This is not the only source here. This is just what I have up. It was the most concise here. And she's described as being the daughter of Persephone and Zeus, disguised as Pluton, which is the god of wealth. And Pluton is also maybe Hades. So Hades and Pluton is actually, you'll notice Pluto, which is the Roman name for Hades. We're not quite sure, we as in humans, are not quite sure whether Pluton was a guy before Hades, because Hades has a lot of epithets, meaning the one who receives all, the wealthy one. Like, he will inherit everything eventually because everyone will die eventually, so he's described as being wealthy. Now, does that mean he was the god of wealth? No, not necessarily. Does that mean that there was a variation of his wealthy epithet? You don't say the name of the god of death in case he comes looking for you. You might summon death. Not good to say his name, so a lot of epithets were used for Hades. Does that mean he's got a wealth god that was inspired by him in Rome and could have been later on in ancient Greece? Potentially. So, this is what we know so far. She's very, very, very minor. Even more minor than even Thanatos, who only has, like, really one major story. And he's only, like, the hand of Hades and the gods in that story. So he's not even the main character. So, very little known figure. She's, again, nightmares, madness, underworld, daughter of Persephone and Zeus. And is described as a nymph, but I believe in this game will probably be characterized as probably more of a goddess, more like how Zagreus is described as a god of rebirth. So there's that. I'm going to keep this up because we're going to come back to this. We're going to keep this up because we're going to come back for this. Okay, let's continue. She's also described as being a moon goddess of sorts, of being associated with the moon. So that is why there's moons everywhere here. This is like her thing. Okay, let's continue.
We can but learn, and the greatest teacher is out there.
Also, notice a moon is a good sickle. Keep that in mind. Her sickle is a moon.
Now go. Death to Kronos.
To Kronos. Death to Kronos. That's the mission of the game. Kill Kronos. Now, Kronos is the Titan of the harvest, father to the Olympians, or at least 6 of them. Hades, Zeus, Poseidon, I believe Hestia, Hera, and forgetting the last one. But it actually might say here. Give me a moment. And Demeter, also the father of Demeter, which, if you remember, Demeter is the mother of Persephone. Persephone is the mother of Zagreus and Melione. These two are the grand daughter and grandson of Kronos, the Titan of the harvest. If you don't know the story of Kronos, Kronos was imprisoned along with many other Titans in the war between the Olympians and the Titans for being a tyrant and eating his own children. There was a prophecy that one of his kids would supplant him and kill and basically take over his throne as king of the world, basically. This ended up being Zeus, the youngest of the six, who he ate everyone, swallowed them whole. They grew up in his stomach when they should have been digested, obviously. Then they were... Mother, Rhea, basically took a bunch of stones, wrapped them in swaddling clothes, and fed them to Kronos so that he would swallow rocks instead of Zeus. Zeus then was taken away by another goddess or nymph or something, and was then raised and was trained to overthrow his own father, which he succeeded in doing. And why is he is now the king of the gods? This all takes place in the Theogony of Hesiod. So pretty good story. The weapon of Kronos, god of the harvest, is a sickle. You'll notice that Melione uses a sickle, as is here, which again is actually more of an epithet to her because she is associated with the moon and nighttime. It's also on Hecate here as well, as sort of a witchy, nightly kind of figure. Also, big moon in the background. Big moon. So that's where that is. Now, Kronos was imprisoned in Tartarus, along with other titans. They are imprisoned there, guarded by Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires. Cyclopes, big, strong, one-eyed monsters. They were monsters. They're people, but they're one-eyed monsters. And the Hecatoncheires, which are things with 100 arms and 50 heads. They are immensely strong, gigantic. They were the thing that basically turned the tide of the war against the Titans. So they brought out the Olympian Age, and everybody was imprisoned in Tartarus, especially Kronos. Now, we will continue in a moment.
Death to Kronos.
These attacks are pretty fucking cool. This looks like
Death to Kronos.
We're gonna take it in halftime, okay? We're gonna take it in halftime, and we're going to turn the volume off real quickly. We'll see here, that's a dash. It looks very similar to the normal one that we've seen in Hades. Great dash. That looks like an attack chain to me. And that looks like a special move because it uses magic, which that is also a special move, I believe, magic. We'll get to that in a moment, what magic could be. But Moros, Doom Incarnate. Looks like another one of the NPCs, perhaps more of a Charon figure, perhaps a Thanatos figure. But looks like they'll be replacing one of those NPCs there. And then another good chamber here. A more amazing fluid gameplay. And we got 12 new gods, I do believe, by showing Moros and by showing Apollo here for the boon system. As you can see, god of light. He's a god of many other things. Archery, there's a bow in his hand. He's god of music. He's god of the sun. He's god of light. He's got a reputation. He's also very frivolous. He's very flirty. And here is where I want to pause and talk about the systems in this game. I believe Halion also did a great one on that. You should go check him out. He's got great, one of the best players in Hades' time, and he will probably be the best player in Hades 2 time. But we want to go over these a little bit. This is all placeholder shit. This is definitely going to change, but this looks good for what it is. We got the moons on the side. This art on the left here is, I think, arguably better than Hades 1. but don't quote me on that. That's probably going to change, and they're probably going to do it even better. But we got the tier system. I believe boon system is going to stay exactly the same. That's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about here are the attacks. They're sprinting now in this game. Now, is there sprinting all the time? Is it a boon? Is it an upgrade you get from a Mirror of Night system? We don't know. But there is sprinting in this game. So that means perhaps movement speed buffs mean a lot more now. Perhaps there's stamina. Or perhaps you can just sprint all the time. But that is something to look out for in the coming months leading up to the game's release. And also when the game actually comes out. Attacks deal more damage in a larger area, whatever. Casts and magic are distinguished. So there's attacks, there's casts being mentioned here. No special, but there is something called magic. Now, something Halion said, which I'm not just going to copy Halion. I have my own theories, but something Halion said, he said this might be like a pool system, like mana in like RPGs and stuff, where you have a limited number of mana that needs to be recharged or restored in some way, obviously by this clarifying light feature being mentioned here. Perhaps I think there is a regenerative ability here that is being hinted at for magic. I think that there is a different way to go about this. I think attacks are going to automatically fill up your magic. Kind of like, if you've ever played Hero in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the Hero. Very interesting character. His special moves are all powered by mana. Mana in that game is 100 points. Certain moves have more power. They use more mana. There is a varying system for that. Don't want to go too much into it. But not only does that recharge a little bit at a time, but it also recharges on a hit. So whenever you deal damage to somebody, you gain a chunk of mana back, depending on how much damage you did, knockback, whatever. I believe that's how really the magic is going to be restored. I think it's going to be better for gameplay. It's going to be able to let you use your magic a lot more. I don't think it's going to be like a health system where you have to actually like get a thing to restore the magic, like a healing buff or something from the Well of Charon, which might make a return in some form. Which I hope it does, because Charon is one of my favorite aspects of the game. Managing your money is honestly just a great system. It's a great system, and I hope it returns. So, if you're watching Supergiant Games, which I don't know why you would be, but maybe you see this, bring back Charon. We all love him. We want to see more of him. Sprinting inflicts daze. So, perhaps a different stunning effect kind of thing. Probably closer to the dazed effect that Zagreus has at the end of like Hades fights, where in phase 2 he brings up those big green pillars of hands, and then the hands break, comes up, and it dazes him, stuns him for a few seconds, and he's not able to move. So maybe that's what they're referring to. Maybe they're toying around with that. I'm sure all of this will change in time, but magic, I think, is a thing to stay. They're probably still tweaking it, but an interesting subsystem to say the least, and a welcome new thing that I think will be incredibly fun to toy around with, especially if there are a lot of little abilities you can change and you can kind of customize your own build. Not just with boon systems, but also with like a subset of like a Mirror of Night, where there's your main abilities, your main upgrades, like health and dashes and all that stuff we've seen in Hades 1, but also maybe when you're training with Hecate at the beginning, you can kind of choose what build you want to go with. And that, I think, is something that is going to greatly increase the lifespan of this game. Let's think about a world where you get to have like slots, and you get to use your Mirror of Night to basically upgrade how many slots you have and how many slots of special moves you have, and your mana pool, starting mana pool. Just so many options. Just even talking about having a build that you can pre-select, which might work more like the Infernal Arms system. They might change out the Infernal Arms for builds that you can have and you can customize with, you could fuck around with. Will it be as complicated as literally you're switching out movesets like in Pokemon? I don't know. Perhaps it will be. Perhaps it will be like, here's a set number of moves. You can change how many moves depending on the upgrades you get. But here's a different amount of moves. You can change them out. You can have multiple slots for them. And you can choose which starter to bring you with on the journey throughout the underworld. Hopefully, I think that's how that's going to work. If that works at all like that. Again, this is all speculation. But it would be a really, really cool thing. It would add a lot of replay value, which is something you want in a roguelike. Something to strive towards. There's always something to work towards in a roguelike. Now, the gameplay in and of itself of Hades, once you've completed everything, there's still a bunch of random events. There's still great gameplay. There's a lot of replay value, even in just the base gameplay. But adding even that another 6 months to the game time, it's going to help everyone out a lot. I'm going to love it. People who are not going to stick with the game a lot are going to love it, especially if it's a good system. So that's what we want. Let's continue, because there is a lot more to get through. Again, one of those interesting moves. And here's another person I want to talk about, Nemesis, goddess of retribution and victory. And if you'll notice, she has one of the Stygian blades. The aspect of Nemesis from Hades 1, the sword you get. The second aspect on that sword is the aspect of Nemesis. One of my favorite aspects on that sword. Probably my favorite. Stab the ground with your special. You get that extra critical chance. And of course, you can upgrade with the Titan Blood and get more of a chance to grant that critical hit. It is immensely powerful on the blade, and probably the best one. That kind of gives you more bang for your buck because you're going to get hit probably a lot more with that blade. Now, something I want to mention is that she has the blade. Is it that she has one of the Infernal Arms? Does she have the Stygian blade? Did Zagreus somehow give it to her? This is described as a direct sequel by Supergiant Games. So, did the swords change hands? Or is the Stygian blade having her aspect of that sword that already exists? I don't know, but something to look out for. Could hint at more of a story for this game, because if Zagreus has a sister, he probably doesn't know. And he's not main character. How's that going to play out? Are we going to meet Zagreus in this game? He hasn't been mentioned yet. Some people are speculating that he's a boss. Final boss, perhaps? We'll get into it. We'll get into it in time. More moon iconography, more magic iconography. Great shots. Love that. This room is going to be important in a second. You trifle with power. First off, the voice acting in this game is fucking incredible.
I was born for this.
Ooh, I forgot to take it off half speed. By the way, voice acting in this game is phenomenal.
You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch. Incredible voice acting. This being, it's either this person she's talking to right now, or something else in the room. I think perhaps it is this person here. Could be her. Could be somebody else.
Trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
Dora.
Okay, if I call you witch like that?
Incredible voice acting again.
Witch.
Dora. She's exploring. I don't know what to tell you, but let's explore Dora for a moment. This is obviously Pandora. The Greek story goes like this. One day, the gods decided to create a woman, and they decided to give them a box that held all the world's evils. And they were created as beautiful, and they were gifted with so many wonderful things, smarts and cunning. And then she opened the box. So, canonically, the first woman created in Greek mythology is responsible for all the evil in the world. Great job, Greek mythology. Thank you, ancient Greece. You truly know how to write them. Jesus Christ. But all that aside, the story goes like this. She opens the box, all the evil comes out, but a little bit of hope comes back into the box, signifying that all humanity will have hope, yada, yada, yada. It's a short, bad story, but the listless shade trapped in the underworld forever. Dora, it's Pandora.
Okay, if I call you wench like that?
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
First off,
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
Hecate, her face hasn't been shown yet. And Hecate isn't a very well-known figure in Greek mythology. She only shows up a few times. Again, witnessing the truth behind the kidnapping of Persephone, which is really an arranged marriage in Greek mythology. Obviously, it's a lie that they tell in Hades to make their relationship seem more, well, good and okay to general audiences. But her potential twist for her to be Persephone instead, goddess of magic, could be something. She lives alone in the cottage in the woods, tending to a garden. Just saying. There's a lot here.
He is no.
That's a teaser for later.
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
And I just want to say, this stuff is awesome.
I was born for this.
You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
Okay, if I call you wench like that?
It's like the shade that teleports around.
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
And I think that's going to be the main area where, like, you go off. Or she could be a boss.
He is no mere titan. He is time itself.
Interesting, Hades, that you would say that. Because Kronos and Kronos are two different people. Let me explain. Kronos, the god of the harvest, really the titan of the harvest, he is something completely different from this god of time that's being described. Kronos, CH, not C and U, is the god of time. Also KH, because they're kind of interchangeable in Greek mythology. He is literally time itself. He is the personification of time. He doesn't really do much in Greek mythology. He doesn't have a lot of stories. But I can say he is different than Kronos. It is especially a pet peeve of mine when the people get the two confused. Now, people are getting them confused, which is partially why I made this video. Kronos and Kronos are two different people. Kronos, harvest. Kronos, time. The way this is being described in the game, in this trailer, it seems like Supergiant Games conflated the two for a reason. Now, who is this figure chained up? Well, the obvious part is that it's Hades talking over it, so it could be Hades. Which begs the question, how to get there? What happened to Zagreus? Is he behind the desk if he's here? Well, where's Kronos? Did Kronos put him here? Is Zagreus fighting Kronos? Do you fight Kronos at the end of the game with Zagreus? Is time being messed with by Kronos and Zagreus doesn't exist and Melione exists instead? confusing. I'm not going to get into time travel plots, but there's something there. But here's the thing. If this is Hades, which that's more interesting in terms of like a everything's going to shit, Melione needs to save the world kind of thing. Because if Kronos gets out of Tartarus, shit hits the fan. Like, it is end of the world type of shit. Now, there's no actual, like, end of the world myth in Greek mythology. There wasn't really a thing like that. But, Kronos getting out is not a good thing. That was pretty much why he was thrown in Tartarus. At least for the gods. And wars of gods usually end with huge cataclysmic events. Like natural disasters, storms, Zeus coming out, or tsunamis, earthquakes. Lots of shit happens. So it's not a good idea. But if this is just Kronos here, and this is all this is describing, and Kronos looks like Hades, which is really interesting because Hades is actually the firstborn of his siblings. He is the firstborn of Kronos and Rhea. So it would make sense that he looked a lot like his old man. But I can't help but notice that the beard is the same, and the laurels of the Chthonic house is also the same. So, what does all this mean? We have a lot of potential for a lot of different stories here. And Supergiant is being very careful to not give it away. To give us just enough to be interested for this time and to theorycraft, generate hype around the game, which, phenomenal job. You've done well. You've given us great little-known figures from mythology, brought them to the mainstream, given us great games. You guys do amazing work. And you guys reinvent the wheel every time you make a game. I can't thank you enough. Your games are great. But, begs the question, who is this person? Is it Hades? Or is this Kronos? Would they make Kronos look like Hades to spite us? Or would they make it very different, like every other character in this? I mean, Hades and Persephone do not make a Zagreus. Zagreus looks a lot like Persephone. It doesn't look a lot like his old man besides the black hair. So, and the red feet, which Melione also has. So, what is this lineage here? Where is Zagreus? Is he running the show? Is he the new god of the dead while his father's away? Is he fighting Kronos? Where is Kronos? Is he messing with time itself? Is that why magic needs to be involved? Why is Hecate here? Why is Persephone in all of this? Is Hades locked up? Or is Kronos locked up? Is this the start of the game? Is this the end of the game? I have no idea. But let's let Hades finish talking.
He is no mere titan. He is time itself, and time cannot be stopped.
So we're fighting Kronos, definitely. Time cannot be stopped. Well, Hades, you stopped him once, and I think Melione...
Wait for me, Father. I'll be this.
What does she mean by that? Father, I'll be there soon? Is she... Let's think about this. Is Hades also Kronos? Could he have given birth to himself? Is she talking about Kronos? Is she talking about Hades? I don't think Hades gave birth to himself. Is this another switcheroo where somebody's pretending to be somebody else? Is she coming for Hades to save him? Thinking that she's actually his daughter? There's a lot to unpack here. Because she's not really Hades' son, or daughter, sorry. She's not really Hades' daughter. She's not her son either. But there's a lot to unpack here. She's coming for her father. She's killing Kronos. Her father is Zeus? Is it Hades? Is it Kronos in a weird twisted way? Ugh. God. Also, I want to point out this is definitely Hecate because of the three faces here. And as you saw before, the statue of Hecate had those three faces. So it's definitely Hecate, goddess of magic, if there was any doubt before. But you cannot stop time. In time, this game is going to come out, and we're going to have the answers to all of these questions and more. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, please stay tuned for more videos, especially on Hades 2. I'm definitely going to be making a lot of content for that. And this will be the channel besides the actual channel that I have music on. Wherever you listen to music, I have music up. I got 3 albums out. Go listen to them. I've only been making music a couple years, but you can tell I'm improving every time I release a goddamn song. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe, like for more of this content. It's definitely coming. So please, thank you. Hades content is coming on the way. And definitely, you should check out the music. Without further ado, enjoy. Have a wonderful day.